Suddeds. So, as you might have heard or not yet, just got a new phone. Ah, yeah. iPhone 5S, 32 gigabytes, $40. Fucking deal of a lifetime, I swear. God is good. God is good. But, I guess I wanted to just, like, a whole bunch of ideas came to mind as I was playing with it. I figured I'd just like beast blast them real quick. So the first thing that stuck out to me was just the fact that like data transmission is radically fucking slower than on an Android device. And I'm guessing it's probably because of all the security overlays, meaning like like Apple, the reason why it's so secure is because it does a really good job of putting access controls on every single thing that you're trying to do. If you're trying to open something and it requires data or it requires interaction with the core system, the core operating system will ask, do you want to do this? If you're trying to download something or install something from the App Store, I'll be like, do you want to do this? Right? And while it adds a whole bunch of fucking security, it also slows down data transmission, data speed. This is why sometimes I always saw it in my brother and I always thought maybe it was like a network issue, but there were times when like I'm on the Play Store, I'm on the App Store and I'm searching for something and it doesn't come right away, right? Now, on one hand, you might say this is good because it essentially provides a filtering system in case maybe like attackers or hackers are trying to transmit malicious data, right? And that extra gap prevents the operating system from being compromised. But personally, I feel like that's not what Steven had in mind, right? Like he wanted security first, yes, but while still maintaining an open source or a layer of or a way or a wave of like free data transmission, meaning when you know for a fact that this nigga or this user is literally just downloading shit, they're just installing information, installing data onto their phone, then the need for security is not that high, especially if maybe you implement a source check, right? Like a way of checking the integrity of where that software is coming from. Say you require a certificate the first time that occurs, right? In my opinion, that would save a bunch of fucking time because then we wouldn't be having to repeat the same security protocols over and over and over again. And that would greatly, greatly fucking improve data transmission, right? That's one, like, that's literally the thing that's like, that sticks out to me the most so much. Like, I was installing all my apps like Tinder, POF, Snapchat, um, Facebook, Instagram, and like it took forever just to get to the app because every single time it'd be like, so I type in the app and it'd be like loading, 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 and that take like 5, 7, 10 seconds, and that's so noticeable when you come from Android where it's instantaneous. So that's a major thing. Like if on a Apple working on like ease of data transmission and data flow while still maintaining security. One thing, an idea sounds weird, and I don't know if it would make sense, is to use sacred geometry, right? Like refer to that video I made in the swag surfing videos, which funny enough ties to soccer, but could be applied to this as well. But um, create a funnel to where data goes through maybe a triangular geometry where you have server, and it comes in through here. So here's like the fucking intake, you can say, and it goes through here, bounces off these three, and these four data servers are in charge of what? One here, one here, one here, and one here, right? And they're in charge of essentially making aware of all the malicious data coming through, so filtering it out, right? And then you send it out to a rectangular geometrical structure where things are more stable, and like you know that the data there is safe. So there's a lesser um, there's there are less operations that are dealing with filtering, and more operations are dealing with just flow or management, or just making sure that data goes from one place to the other effortlessly. So that's something I was thinking of, and I don't know if that made sense or not, but that's just an idea that I had. But overall, I'm really happy. Like, it's really funny, just how it feels really not intuitive, but extremely smooth. Like, using an iPhone is really smooth. Meaning you don't you just feel like you can get everywhere easily, and as opposed to the Android where you always had that feeling of like you could always it always felt like everything was more compartmentalized. So one component is there, one component is there, one component there. While the iPhone gives you more of that holistic or integrated approach that everything is there in one at like a touch of a finger, or touch of a button or two, right? So those are things that really pop out at me. Um, but it's crazy how like just fucking data matters so much. Like, just another one that came to mind was the idea of, so I was trying to download Facebook and it wouldn't let me. It said that I had to do it over Wi-Fi because anything over 400 megabytes would actually would be needed to be downloaded using Wi-Fi. And while I respect the idea, like, they're essentially trying to ensure that the iCloud is not it doesn't deal with massive it doesn't have to do so much data management. I'm still like, what the fuck? Like, they don't have to do much work. I'm still like, what the fuck, bro? Come on, like, it's like $1 billion company. I think they can afford to have unlimited data transfer over cellular connections as opposed to using Wi-Fi connection. Like, come on, come on, like, it's not penny pinch here. But I don't know, I was kind of bummed and disappointed by that. But just the small things. Overall, it's a pretty cool device. I like how it fits in my hand, even though I'm kind of sad by the fact that it feels like it's a much smaller screen. So I'm kind of interested. Look forward to seeing how that's going to play into my mobile user experience. So when, for example, I see a truck and like they have their website listed, and I'm like, do they have a good website? And I access it, how that's going to tie into the overall mobile layout. So it's cool stuff to look forward to. It's currently dead at 1%, so I'm gonna let it charge. But that's that. Really, really happy. I know it was a deal regardless, and despite everything, I feel like it's still an amazing device, and it's extremely well made. Like, even though I just said all that, I still appreciate and respect that the fact that like security and integrity is such a big deal. Like, for example, one of the reasons why it's so stable is because anytime, for example, you need to make an OS update, you have to go through a verified source. And the only verified source that your iPhone will allow to receive updates from is fucking from Apple itself. And they ensure that. They ensure that the certificate saying, hey, this is me, is so fucking real that it cannot be forged, right? On the Android, you can receive, and that's pretty much why people get hacked. Like, you'll get hacked without even realizing it. You'll be sitting somewhere, someone's like, I'm gonna fuck with this nigga. And they call it push update. So he'll send you, on your phone, it pops up has, there's a firmware update now. But in reality, it's just a code that he created that installs, or that pretty much fucks up the core files to where now, or modifies it in a way to where now he can actually create a connection with it. He has access to your phone, and he can do anything he wants with it. because he's in the core files. Think of the core file as like um, the operating system. So the thing that like um, sends the messages, the thing that controls how messages are sent, the thing that controls um, what happens when you press the power button, the thing that controls what happens when you get notifications, right, from different apps, the thing that controls what happens when you get calls, right, the thing that controls what happens when you swipe or go from one app to the other, right? All these things. And someone having access to that could do a lot. They could literally shut down your phone to where you can't make calls or make texts. Or they could fuck up core files to where now, because the OS is relying on those files, a whole, you can call it, sector of your phone is literally dead. Because like the core files have been um, mutated and modified, and now it no longer works as it should. And so now you get, that's why, or Android users always report software crashes, it being buggy and laggy and all this shit, right? Because maybe somewhere, I'm not saying all the time, but somewhere they fucking got hacks. Them fucking lead hackers, bruh. Lead hackers. So one way, or the main way through to do it, is just because the beauty about Android and the sadness in it, it's open source, meaning a lot of the things that pretty much the operating system, there are not a lot of security safeguards put in place that ensures that like unauthorized users can access it. While on the iPhone, everything is done from taking care of that first, right? So that's also why Android is a lot harder to jailbreak into, which just means, which I hate that sound because it sounds so bad, but you just got to remember that if you're a developer, sometimes because the developer, the creator, say Apple, right, or even an Android, because they have safety first, security first, they're not going to allow you to have access to core files, because if you don't know what you're doing, you could change one line, as I just mentioned. You can change an important file that corrupts the integrity of your phone, right? It's kind of like in Windows when it first started, um, it was only all DOS, like you'd have to use a command prompt. And now, once users started using it, they're like, oh, let's make it easy and usable for all the other people. And so they create this whole fucking rich user interface that you see. So the start on the top, bottom left, fucking my computer icons, which are shortcuts to folders, etc., etc. They just made it really friendly. But in doing that, they also hid all the advanced shit. So like, being able to see root folders or root files, things that deal with the integrity or the core of the operating system itself, because they're worried someone could like, haha, what does this do? They just delete, and it just gives them the blue screen of death. So to prevent that from happening, they limited user rights, or limited what people could see and do to an acceptable level, right? Now, in doing this, now more advanced users have to deal with more bullshit, or they have more of a pain to deal with if they're trying to do some advanced stuff. So to do that, they have to literally jailbreak, which just means they have to find a way to increase the user rights beyond the level that was decided at the factory, or beyond factory set user rights. That's pretty much what it means. So it's not this bad thing, but it's all about trying to figure out how to do something, maybe how to get your needs or get something done, and then modifying or customizing the tool that is the phone, that is the device, in order to ensure that that happens. Also, I've been fucking around with like the different marketplaces. Like, oh my god, Zux is a fucking ninja. Like, if you look to the left of Facebook, you now have a marketplace and jobs. So, like, he's essentially fostering a community activity center in a sense. So you can buy and sell goods from within fucking Facebook, and you can also look for jobs, internships, contract work, etc. from fucking Facebook. Like, that's such a game changer, especially in terms of like community development, getting the local community engaged. Fucking pro. Fucking pro. I see you. Hope this makes sense. Hope you guys get something out of this. As always, swag the fuck out.
Super Mario. T.